Hi, welcome to Helpful Conversations. This is a place where we get to have honest conversations about what's going on in the world and how it's impacting us. And also with a focus on how we can protect our mental health throughout this pandemic. So for those of you who are new joining us today, thank you so much for joining. Please take a moment to subscribe to our channel so that way you have a notification every time a new video comes up. As you all may know, school has been out. School's been out for a few weeks now, and it's been quite a challenge, Parents are now having to face the challenge of being at home all day with their children and also play the role of educator, work from home, be a spouse, or whatever other roles or responsibilities that they may have. And this is pretty stressful. So the question is, how do we deal with all of these pressures, all of the stress that's going on? How do we deal with kids that are eating so much or whatever needs that we have going on? How do we talk to our kids about what's going on with the virus or just with the pandemic that we have going on in this world? And how do we manage all this stress? So today I have a very special guest, Dr. Scanterbury, who's going to be talking to us about these very same issues and how we can support parents and help parents to protect their own mental health and take time also not only to talk to their kids about different things, but also to take care of themselves as well. Hi, welcome, Dr. Scanterbury. How are you?
I am doing really well. Thank you so much for having me, Emerging Dr. Brannon. I really appreciate this opportunity. How are you doing?
Well, I'm really glad that you were able to take time from your busy schedule to come and meet with us. So, we'll just get straight to it. Parents are really going through a lot during these times. They're having to be parents. They're probably working with their kids at home. So now they're educators all of a sudden. And, there's a lot that's going on. What would you say that are some things that they might be going through?
Well, from a parent's perspective, from everyone's perspective, this is new. So, as parents, I think there is just a huge paradigm shift from what they knew and held to be normal. All the changes, sudden changes that have to be put in place. And I think there is maybe an unspoken expectation for parents, or that we feel as parents, to stay calm, right? And to keep things normal. And nothing is normal right now. That's one of the challenges that parents have to face. I think there is also kind of the emotional balance, meaning that they're experiencing all these changes in their own world, but their children are also experiencing changes in their world. And so they have to be the arbiters of how their children respond to this. They have to guide and model for their children how to respond to this. But again, it's new, it's unexpected, it's unknown. So there are no rules, there are no written rules, there are no guidelines. And so it really is an experience of navigation for parents and for children as well. But I think particularly for parents, as they are the ones on whose shoulders rests the largest responsibility to kind of get their families through this.
Yes, it is a huge responsibility and quite frankly, very stressful, right? Because like you said, everything is new and there's all these responsibilities and expectations that are being placed on our parents. So, you mentioned children and being able to model that behavior. I've been talking to a lot of parents who are concerned about their children's behaviors. So I spent some time talking to them and telling them, you know what, like sometimes kids don't have words to express themselves, and their behavior is their way to express what they're feeling. So what would you say to parents in terms of having these conversations with them?
That's absolutely true. And so they resort to whatever it is that they do have access to, which is essentially their expressions, their behaviors, and so on. And it might be difficult for parents to, interpret what specifically this behavior might mean. In fact, the behaviors are often misinterpreted. And so, first of all, what you initially said, I think is critically important for parents to understand that children are not profoundly well equipped to articulate what they are feeling. However, they are human beings. And just as we are feeling this whole experience in so many new ways, there are all these expectations, not only on the family level, but from the job, and then from the school, because now we're teachers for our kids, and any other number of roles that we play as parents. Well, so the kids do have feelings, fears, anxieties. And so it becomes our responsibility, again, as parents, to try as best as we can to understand and to appreciate what they are feeling. How we do that is by being intentional about approaching our children, meaning asking them, meaning trying to hear from them. What are they hearing? Where are they hearing things from?
Right.
What are they being told, or what are they seeing on their little devices? They have access to those kinds of things, and what do those things mean to them? So trying to understand their internal reactions, maybe even sounding off some things like, for example, when this whole thing came down, I was kind of scared, and I know some of my friends were scared. Is that something you feel? So kind of putting out examples of feeling. And because quite often our emotions resonate in terms of bodily feelings, I think it's important, or maybe one of the ways for parents that might be helpful for parents to discover and understand their children's feelings is try to ask, so what are you feeling like in your body? What does it feel like when you hear this, or when you experience this, or what's going on inside of you? Are you feeling any pain, any tingles, any tightness? Try to describe to me what you're feeling physically.
Stomach hurt.
Yeah, those kinds of things, so that can give some kind of indication of where the kids might be in terms of their emotional states.
Yes, I agree. I mean, I think even as adults, for us, there's a lot of uncertainty, and we have the mental capacity to understand somewhat what's going on. I can't even imagine where a child's mind is, And so I think it's, like you said, very helpful, and it could be very validating for the child to be able to be given maybe some of the feelings that help them, give them words to describe the feelings that they're experiencing at the time. And then also being able to kind of put things into perspective, right? The behaviors into the context and what's going on, right? Because like we said, I've had parents that have told me, I'm so stressed, every now and then we're trying to do the homework and we're trying to do different things, and my kids start crying, right? Or I just want to escape or go do something. That's normal. It's very normal because, like I said, there's very high stress that's going on. So going back to like the parent perspective, how can we protect the mental health of our parents who are probably still working from home and also having to be doing the homeschooling, and who are maybe really frustrated, or things are very emotionally charged in the home, and having to be not only a spouse but a parent or a single parent. There's so many different things that are going on, but what would you say, what would be some suggestions that we can give our parents for them to protect their mental health?
First of all, it's important to normalize this reality, but normalize in terms of the fact that it is crazy for everyone. Normalize in terms of, I'm not the only one that's feeling the way that I'm feeling, and what I'm feeling, I'm not crazy. I'm not the exception. Right. So I think that's important for parents to understand that, man, everyone is trying to navigate this with no rules, with no guidelines. And so this is a common experience. What makes it probably a little more difficult is that we're social distancing, so we're not in contact with other people as often, in the kind of ways that we have been before, to have these conversations, to say, is this what you're feeling, or to get validated from other adults. But at the same time, to the degree that you might have, for example, other close friends, a spouse, a partner, a best friend, or other really good acquaintances, it's important to have another adult or group of other adults to try to debrief, share your feelings and your true experiences with, so that you can experience some level of validation and input from others. what I should have prefaced this with probably is just, it's important to take a deep breath.
Mm,
It's important to step back and really take a deep breath and center yourself as much as possible, so that you
mhm.
can begin to at least think a little more clearly or get
Right.
things into a better perspective so
Right. Like
that you
taking a
can
time out.
time out. Absolutely. Give
Yes.
yourself a time out. It's easy to give our kids a time out when they act up, but before we get to the place where we act up, it's important for us to take a time out.
Right.
In times like these, I think a walk can be helpful. Taking a stroll, early or late, when it's quiet, when there are not people around. Clearly, we're distancing, so that's
Right.
important. Maybe even listening to some calming music or soundscapes can be helpful.
Hmm.
Um, so anything that would help you to take that deep breath and step back from things and
Right.
allow yourself some space so you can reset,
Hmm.
is really important. So I think these are things that parents can and should think about seriously.
Yes.
If they're an instrument, or if there's another activity that just allows you to unwind, it's important to engage those things. So like meditation or meditative practices might be helpful as well.
Yes, I agree. So social distancing doesn't necessarily mean isolation, is what I hear you say, right? So being able to still have some kind of interaction, calling a friend or a family member to kind
Mhm.
of have some conversations with another adult, right? And then staying active or doing something or a hobby or something that you might like or might be really helpful for you. Another thing that
Yeah.
I would like to add, if I may, is having a routine at home, right? So in school, kids, they have a routine, and I think that having a routine or something that's maybe visible, posted on the maybe the refrigerator or something where it's visible where everyone can see it, can give not only the parents some kind of relief in terms of people knowing what's next and what the expectations are, and not having to repeat it constantly, but also the children, they know what's next, they know how the day is going to be like. And I have found that to be very helpful, for parents who have been utilizing that and keeping a schedule not only for their kids but also for themselves.
Absolutely. And if I can interject, or add to what you've just shared, Judith, I think that the routine is such a helpful process and tool to use, especially at a time like this.
Mhm.
Yet at the same time, I would want to encourage that we be careful to not become too rigid, but stay flexible with
Yes.
the routine. Because I
Right.
think the very nature of what we're experiencing now kind of teaches us that we can't be or become, or we shouldn't be or become too rigid in our
Mhm.
ways of thinking or doing. We need to be flexible and be willing to give allowances for little
Yes.
changes or departures from time to time while we
Mhm.
still hold that valuable routine in place
Yes,
as much as
as we
possible.
create a new normal. Well,
Absolutely.
thank you so much. I really appreciate this conversation. Parents, you are not alone. So if you need some help, there's plenty of resources out there. I'll have some on the link. Um, and we're going to get through this together. So, Wendell, again, thank you so much for your participation, for your time, and your valuable input. And for those of you who are watching, thank you for watching, and please come again. Until next time.
Thank you. Have a wonderful time.